Hey guys, Ron here, and a year ago I made 4 Eeveelutions for my very own Fakemon region, Asone. That project is done, but there's a chance I will be making a new region in the future, so I would love to include some Eeveelutions there as well. Hopefully my ability to make Eeveelutions has evolved since then. There are 6 types left, so I decided 4 more would be a decent amount. If you haven't checked out the previous 4 Eeveelutions, make sure to do so after this video, as well as all my other Fakemon creation videos. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't. Now let's evolve some Eevees. The first Pokemon I want to make seems like it would be a pretty natural evolution to Eevee, the fighting type. We need more quadrupedal fighting types, because literally the only ones that exist are Legendary and Stuffle. So my point still stands. I mean, it makes sense since pretty much all fighting types are masters in a particular martial art, and there aren't any fighting styles on all 4s that I know of. So I'm going to base my fighting evolution on dog fighting. I'm not going to show the type of dog fighting I'm talking about, but you know, this Pokemon is actually willingly participating in the fighting. I know fighting for your life isn't really a martial art, but this Eevee will purposely go for the vital spots like the throat, so there's some discipline. It's basically the Krav Maga Pokemon. It'll also be a bit more dog-like than the average Eeveelution, definitely the scruffiest, but it'll be brave and valiant. It fights for good. If Sylveon is a shoujo protagonist like Sailor Moon, this fighting Eevee will be a shonen protagonist like, well, every mainstream anime protagonist. It'll have fighting gauze, bandage patterns, but not too many. I don't want to make it look like it's wearing inanimate objects. The key to a good Eeveelution is simplicity and purity. They all have to look exactly like one type, barely any hint of any other type, and their designs can't be overdone or complicated. So no boxing glove, no crazy ornaments or clothes, just a natural mutation of an Eevee. Starting out with the classic Eevee proportions, some ears and big eyes with a scar. The scar is a bit on the nose, so I'll take it out eventually. I want it to be furrier than the average Eeveelution, so some cheek tufts help accentuate that. I want to give it flowing tassels like a headband, but it's hard finding a natural way to tack them on. That's when I decided to turn its ears into flowing locks. Some Eeveelutions like Umbreon don't have visible ear holes, so there's precedent. But I want to make a pattern that separates its head so it kind of looks like it's wearing a headband. For now, I'll settle with a tuft of hair that looks like a headband is holding their hair up, so as to simulate the illusion of a headband. Now we're closer to that separated head pattern I wanted. Some bandage-like patterns, just patterns, not actual bandages. Some stripes that look like scars, but again, they're just patterns. A fiery brown color scheme is appropriate, but I decided to extend the red fur to the front to make it look like it's wearing a torn karate gi. But it still looks very natural, much more sporty too. Introducing Brawleon, the combat Pokemon. It evolves from Eevee after landing 10 one-hit KOs using the new move, Vital Fang, a fighting-type version of Fire Fang with a 20% chance of flinching. Only the most competitive Eevees evolve into Brawleon. They're skilled in ending battles in the quickest and most effective manners. They don't enjoy senseless violence, and will only fight when the opponent is willing and ready. They masterfully analyze their foes and keep their distance before finishing them off with kicks to the chest or a bite to the neck. Brawleon will only attack prey when they can assure a painless strike. They do get into fights with Umbreon, who they deem dishonorable, but those tussles are always stopped by Sylveon. They have the ability No Guard with the hidden ability Unburden. Their shiny makes them look more like a black belt master, and not to toot my own horn, but I love this. If this was real, it could easily be one of my favorite Pokemon. It's the exact kind of Pokemon I tend to like. I was always scared of designing a fighting type evolution because it's super tough making a fighting type Pokemon that's on all 4s, especially when you can't give it any inanimate objects as armor, but this absolutely works for me. I hope you enjoy Brawleon. Now it's time for a cuter evolution, something that would fit perfectly with all the existing ones. A flying type evolution. You can go in many directions, but I've always been a fan of wing ears as an idea. Eevee already has big ears, so it's not too far-fetched. It'll be this ethereal and beautiful evolution that soars with its ears, but also have some feathers and cloud-like elements. I want to make sure that it still looks fully mammalian, not like a dragon or a bird. I think the point will be to make it look like a master of air. It has control over the powers of wind, so it's mostly gliding, like an airbender, instead of constantly flapping its wing ears. Most flying types simply fly, but I want a Pokemon that represents the sky in general and the power of wind. It'll be reminiscent of Valkyries, but have a gentle nature like an angel. Sketching a generic evolution that looks like it's about to take off, cloud-like fluffy fur on the head and neck, making the neck a bit smaller and starting to work on the wing ears. They're bigger than the average Eevee ears, but not comically large. While the fighting type evolution was more dog-like, this one is more bunny-like. A tornado tail that spins. I assume it has a joint that can spin 360 degrees like Tails the Fox. Adding the feather-like fur on the wing ears, not too many. I don't want it to look like a bird wing, outlining the body before adding the heel wings, like Hermes. This helps stabilize it while flying. I'm giving it the color of the sky with some white patterns. I'm sure this Pokemon will get along with Sylveon. Here is Horizon, the ascending Pokemon. Eevee evolves into Horizon with high friendship at the highest point in a future region of mine. Eevee who are enamored by the sky, clouds, and height evolve into Horizon. Their desire to fly becomes a reality. Horizon's body is incredibly light and their fur is almost feather-like. They have total control of the wind. Their spinning tail can propel them in an instant. By spinning their tail and flapping their ears once, they generate enough lift to carry Horizon for a minute. Their ears expand when gliding. Their fluffy neck fur keeps them warm at extreme heights. It could even expand to cover their entire head in case of a rough landing. In battle, Horizon will blow away opponents with just one flap of their ears. Their tail is able to sense minute changes in weather and displacements of air, allowing them to easily dodge incoming attacks, especially ones from behind. They have the abilities Tangled Feet and Cloud 9, and their shiny is as gold as the sun. I think this is a great balance of all the flying Eeveelution designs out there. Honestly, the most believable of the ones I made today. I'd assume it could be a fan favorite considering its bright colors. It's very cute, but still clearly cool. The essence of popular Pokemon designs. Also, its name is my favorite. As a flying mammal, it's a bridge between the sky and earth, just like the horizon. Next is a poison-type Eeveelution. Here is our predicament. The most natural way to go about this is by making us a spiky Eevee, since we already have spiky animals in real life and venom is more exciting than poison. But it would end up looking like a purple Jolteon who already shoots pins. If we made it a bit less spiky, it would end up looking like an Umbreon who was originally designed as a poison type, but was switched to dark type midway through development, once the new type was added. I was going to make a nuclear Eevee, but it would stand out too much. It would also look too futuristic and unnatural, maybe even look a little bit like a steel type. Then I thought about poison gas, but then I realized that it would look too similar to my ghost type Eeveelution. That's something I had to factor in, unfortunately. My final idea is actually one that makes a lot of sense. Eevee's DNA is unstable, and I always thought that a future poison Eeveelution would highlight this fact. So what if our poison Eeveelution was basically melting? Its cells constantly degrade and regenerate. It could even cause things to rot by simply touching them. This will be the most dangerous Eeveelution without making it full-blown nuclear. Once again sketching an Eeveelution body and then simply melting it. But I don't want it to look unorganized. It has to be segmented, so I'm giving it almost like a sludge hat, but it'll be more streamlined in the final design, outlining the rest of the body before having the idea to give it these patch-like spots. I love adding an element of some kind of animal to Eeveelution, so I guess leopard it is. This makes it look more like an animal and gives more texture to the poison, making it bright purple with radioactive eyes. These layers also make the color scheme more interesting. Beware Contagion, the unstable Pokemon. It evolves from Eevee when exposed to a toxic stone, an evolutionary stone I made up. It's basically a contaminated rock that causes cells to mutate. Eevee's body is especially sensitive to this stone, but its adaptive DNA tries to fight off the contamination, which leaves it in a constant state of degradation and repair. Basically Pokemon Deadpool. The ends of its nerves have also deteriorated. Contagion melts off any waste that its body generates, so it can digest even the most harmful pieces of matter. While its body is unstable, its mind is at ease since it feels no pain and can consume any food, so it's rarely hungry. Contagion is content and doesn't react too quickly since it's rarely in danger. It is the danger. Its body contaminates all that it touches and instantly kills plants on contact. It can throw the poison that its body produces at any foe. Its body is semi-fluid. It can stop the healing factor on its body in order to fully melt, but will need to repair itself promptly or risk succumbing to its ailment. It has the ability Poison Touch and the hidden ability Liquid Ooze. I was very satisfied with finding a way to include nuclear themes, like the fact that it evolves by being exposed to radiation and its body kicking into overdrive in order to fight off the radiation poisoning, and in the process becoming this radioactive monster. It's still pretty cute at the end of the day, and I'm a huge fan of its colors, and the shiny is more clearly radioactive. And finally, it's time for a rock-type Eeveelution to shine. It could be made of multiple rocks or have sleek gems. Again, I don't want to make it look asymmetrical and monstrous. All Eeveelutions are straight to the point. So it'll have a few gems growing out of it, but there'll be rhyme and reason to its design. Nothing too deep or complicated, because no Eeveelution really has any crazy origin. They all simply represent their type. Now I'm basically making a sleek and pointy Eeveelution. Sharp rock ears and sharp cheeks. I thought they looked cool in the beginning, but now they make it look like an alien. So I'm losing any rocks on the cheeks and opting for a gem on the head. Also added facets to the ears so it actually has dimension, and gave it a pattern on the cheek made of a different rock, adding gems in tasteful places, and then working on the diamond tail. I wanted to split the joints to imply that the legs are made up of multiple rocks, but then it looked like a robot, so I backtracked. In the end, only its paws are made of different rocks. And now I'm adding the cool colors. Each color is a different type of rock. Now this looks hardcore, but still fancy. Behold, Obsidian, the mineral Pokemon. In a future region of mine, there's a deep underground cavern with a giant diamond surrounded by lava. If an Eevee levels up under these extreme conditions, its body will react by hardening its skin, evolving it into Obsidian. The carbon in its skin has become dense under extreme pressure. The density of the stone on its body is not uniform. The rocks on Obsidian can range from obsidian to metamorphic rocks so solid they're classified as diamonds. Obsidian are incredibly rare in the wild, as no lone Eevee dares entering the dangerous environments that produce Obsidian. It can control the density of its limbs, sharpening its paws in order to attack or break its terrain. Their tails can cut diamonds. Obsidian leave their caves to search for food, since their internal organs are still soft, but their metabolism is incredibly slow, so they need only eat once a month. Obsidian live for hundreds of years. They're passed down families for generations, and will become very protective of their beloved trainers. They will not hesitate to jump in front of danger in order to protect their family. Obsidian has the abilities Sturdy and Rockhead. Their shiny is simply more stone-colored. I want to emphasize that the lighter gray body parts are made of softer stones, so they can actually move their neck and legs. I like how sleek it looks even though it's the most fragmented evolution. I'm a big fan of the ears and the name. It was a no-brainer since it's partially made of igneous rock. Very hot. And if you thought this video was fire, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more Pokemon art videos like my previous Eeveelutions video. Check the description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, and my Patreon, which isn't another Eeveelution, but a place that you can get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early. You can also get rewards by clicking the join button to become a member. Follow me on Twitter so you can see behind the scenes art as well, and I'll see you guys soon.